Hello, Scruff-tards, welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And I'm gonna highlight in this video some Swedish aid that's coming down to Ukraine, potentially very significant depending on what Ukraine decides to do with it. A lot of combat boats has been shipped down to Ukraine from Sweden. Which should indicate that Ukraine has a very capable force of making a move across water, which should be somewhere around Kherson. So we're going to take a look at Kherson, but first we're going to take a look at Pokrovsk. Not much going on there, but there might be a Russian move north of Kupyansk that is a bit worrying. And in Kursk, Ukraine might have actually addressed the fact that Russia is pushing hard into Sverdlovskovo. Very interesting, and we're going to have to see what that is all about. And then after we've taken a look at that, we will focus on the combat boat 90 that Sweden is providing Ukraine with, and what that may or may not mean for future operations in the Kherson area. Right, starting off with my map at Pokrovsk. Not that much has changed. As far as I can see, we still have Ukraine holding Peshana, with Russia pushing into the mining facility. Ukraine seems to have that under control at the moment. Russia is still in control of this part. Coming in from Shevchenko, moving up this windbreak here, breaking into the mining facility. We have reports and geolocated positions here, or events rather, geolocated events down here. We have geolocated Ukrainian snipers taking on Russians, and the claim is that Ukraine, besides taking Peshana, also moved in and secured these positions that Russia had previously occupied. So they have pushed out strongly out of Selidove and reclaiming quite a lot of territory, or relative speaking, a lot of territory for this part of the battlefield. And also up here at Kotlina, we have seen a strong push by Ukraine into town here. We know they are sending in mechanized units along this road here, dropping off troops and reinforcing positions down here. A bit unclear how far Ukraine has pushed along this street, but they are down here. We have seen Ukrainian vehicles over here, and we've had Ukrainian soldiers up here fighting as well. Currently we have geolocated Ukrainians assaulting the mine or factory here, so we know that this part up here is under Ukrainian control. A big push in by Ukraine, and this area is also contested by, according to a lot of the mappers. So if Ukraine has pushed in here and they are operating down here, it could potentially mean that all of this up here is cut off for the Russians and isolated, and with few options of bringing in reinforcements and supplies. If Ukraine is able to contest the railway here and the forest belt on either side of it. So a lot of fighting going on here in Kotlina, and Ukraine has tried a pretty a big effort in this pincer move, coming in here along the southern part of town, as well as moving in from the northwest, attacking the town from two fronts, as it were. And that's basically it. Russia is still advancing down here, as we know. They are struggling over here, can't really push up towards the highway. But more importantly for Ukraine, they are securing this area, denying Russia a chance to move up and cut off these vital logistics surrounding Pokrovsk. Jumping over to Andrew Perpetua's map, I just want to highlight here at Kupyansk, as we can see here, going back a couple of days, we can see here how Russia has managed to advance. This is on the 12th, we move on to the 13th, and eventually on the 17th, as you can see, Russia is advancing in this area. They have secured key crossing points across the Oskil River, and they are now securing territory, unfortunately. And what is also worrisome is if we move up here to the border. Take a look. This is, we go back a couple of days here to the 15th, 14th, 15th, and take a look what happens here. Boom, on the 16th. And so it appears as if Russia may be trying to come in from the north, crossing the border, moving down through Topoli towards Kamyanka, and from there on they might try and push on further south to link up with the troops south here around Dvorichna and north of Dvorichna. So it might be a, we don't know yet. It's just, I have only seen this on Andrew's map so far. So we'll have to wait and see if there's something to this, if this is a bigger push by Russia coming down to the west of the Oskil River here towards Kamyanka and moving on further south. And now we're going to take a look at Kursk. This is Mayakovsk 73's map. Not much, not much happening. You know, this is the assault that Russia conducted that failed. We have some fighting going on and artillery strikes and what have you. What is interesting though here is at Sverdlikovo. I've been mentioning this in my last couple of videos. The dangers of Russia having managed to cross this field and establishing a foothold. We can see here where Ukraine has launched drones against Russian positions, even across the bridge here deep into eastern parts of Sverdlikovo. Very crucial that Ukraine gains control of this part of town and denies Russia a chance to make it across these two bridges. And take a look what has happened over here. Right here, this is a Ukrainian Marder IFV that has been destroyed along this windbreak, moving up here. And if Ukraine can push up here, they can actually threaten Russian maneuvers along these two roads that are leading straight for Sverdlikovo. So if Ukraine can reclaim this windbreak, that would go a long way to deny Russia access with logistics, manpower, reinforcements, ammunition, what have you, to their operations here in Sverdlikovo. So if we head on over to my map here, let's see what we're talking about. That would be this windbreak. So potentially Ukraine has launched a counterattack up along this way into this windbreak, nearly at having nearly reached this road. So we'll see if Ukraine can reclaim this territory, and if they do, if that can actually in some form, way or fashion disrupt Russian maneuvers moving into Sverdlikovo. So if Ukraine can cut off these two roads, then eventually Russia will not be able to hold on to Sverdlikovo. So I've been talking about how crucial it is for Ukraine to regain the initiative and secure Sverdlikovo. This might actually be the move we've been waiting for. Ukraine trying to come up behind the Russians in Sverdlikovo and cutting off the town from supplies so that Ukrainian forces can push in and clear out the town and secure it once more. So this, with the Ukrainian vehicles moving up here, gives me hope. Russia will obviously respond. They won't let this happen without a fight. But it shows that we have an indication that Ukraine is indeed addressing the problem with Russia pushing so strongly into Sverdlikovo. And I figured we should take a look at what's going on at Kherson as well, because all the focus is on Toretsk and Pokrovsk, Kursk and what have you. So people tend to forget what's happening at Kherson. Sorry, I got slime stuck in my throat, and now I'm sharing it with you. Anyway, so Kherson, yeah, and things are happening down there. This is not a dead section of the front line. Pardon the choice of words here. As you can see, a lot of things are happening. Ukrainian airstrike, Ukrainian Kherson intercepted. What the hell is that's a drone? Is it? Yeah, that's a drone intercepted. So, and just yesterday or the day before that, here we go. This is actually Ukraine drones striking at Russian positions, and this one here destroyed MTLB. The actual video shows this Russian vehicle advancing along the highway, firing off into the wooded areas here. So it's firing into Ukrainian positions as it's moving along, indicating that we do have Ukrainian forces operating in this area. Very interesting when I took a look at that video, seeing the MTLB firing its machine gun off into the woods, off to the flanks, trying to suppress Ukrainian troops as it was advancing. And as you can see, the Ukrainians, what kind of image is this? They were launching quite a few drones at various vehicles and taking them out, and even way back here. And of course, even further back still, let's see, take a look at this Ukrainian shelling here on Starosubivka. Well, let's see if we can find it. How far back was it? Okay, here we go. Here you actually had a Ukrainian boat moving up and opening fire, locating a Russian position here, opening fire at it, and then called in artillery on this location right here out in the Dnieper River. So a lot of things is still ongoing here in the Kherson area, even if all the focus is on Pokrovsk and Kursk usually. And it's even more interesting if we take a look at the latest aid package from Sweden, when Sweden is providing an additional 16 combat boat 90. So what is a combat boat 90? Well, it is an armored high-speed assault craft, as you can see here in this demonstration here, where you have two combat boat 90 making an assault on an island off in the distance, opening fire with 3 50 cal machine guns each. That is a lot of firepower, and as you can see, they can put down a massive amount of suppression on a targeted beach, and they can move at high speed and then do a crash, stop 2 boat lengths, and roll up to the shoreline, open up the front ramps, and unload 18 fully equipped Marines each. And that is what these boats have been primarily been designed to do, to assault beaches, assault islands, and shorelines. And as you can see down here, we have the standard armament of 3 50 cal machine guns, but you can add so much more. You can mount miniguns on them to give them even more firepower. You can equip them with anti-ship missiles, specifically the RBS-17. That is a modified Hellfire missile, an anti-tank guided missile modified to be used against enemy ships. And it can also drop sea mines and depth charges. And hell, if you have a guy on there with a manpad, you can hunt down enemy fighter jets as well. This is a very versatile, very fast, and very effective vessel on the seas that will allow Ukraine, if they want to conduct amphibious assaults very effectively if they choose to do so in the future. And Sweden has provided Ukraine with 16 combat boat 90 in 2024, and now in 2025 it was announced that Sweden will provide Ukraine with an additional 16, so 32 in total. On top of that, we know that the Netherlands have provided 3 combat boat 90, and another 3 was purchased by Steelfront, which is a Ukrainian civilian effort. So another 6 to those 32, so 38 combat boat 90 in total has been provided to Ukraine. And we have had so far no reports of Ukraine losing any of these vehicles, or vessels rather. So 38 of these, each one can carry 18 fully equipped Marines. They are fast, and they can take a beating since they are armored and they pack a lot of firepower. This is an immensely powerful amphibious force that Ukraine has at its disposal. Right. I've been trying to get this video working for over 2 hours. It keeps getting corrupted when I try to make a video out of it, and then I get it working and I realize I messed up the numbers on this image here. So okay, I need to get the correct numbers in, and then I re-record it, and then struggle with getting it made again, and then finally I get it made, and then I realize this section I'd forgotten to turn the mic on. So here we are. I don't know. Am I reaching 3 hours trying to make this fucking video? Anyway, let's I'm so fed up with it. Anyway, so this here is an image from a video I made last spring when I started keeping a track of all the boats being provided to Ukraine. And here you have the countries that have provided boats. So here we go. This is probably my 5th or 6th time trying to record this shit. The Netherlands, 3 combat boat 90, 22 high-speed transports. Sweden, at the time of I made this video, 10 combat boat 90. They then provided another 6 in 2024, so 16 in total, along with 20 high-speed transports. Then the UK provided 110 boats of various types, including Ork assault craft, offshore raiding craft, smaller boats, light armor but bristling with machine guns. Then you have Steel Front, the Ukrainian civilian effort that bought 3 combat boat 90s by themselves and provided them to the Ukrainian armed forces. We have a minimum of 5 ÖSK assault craft from Finland, possibly as many as 10. And then we have a bunch of fast high-speed transport from Australia and an unknown number provided by the United States from 2022 and onwards. So all in all, we have a confirmed 195 vessels of various types, out of which 38 are combat boat 90. So put it all together with Australia and the United States, we are looking at well beyond 200 assault craft and high-speed transports. And of them, 38 are combat boat 90. It should be noted that the United States have provided what they call riverine patrol craft, and the combat boat 90 is included in that category, and the United States have a couple of them. So maybe the United States has also provided some combat boat 90. But at least 38 out of the 200-ish confirmed vessels. And I mean, the combat boat 90 is it can deploy 18 fully equipped Marines to a shoreline, can drive straight up to an island, to a beach, any type of shoreline, and deploy the troops. And it comes equipped with heavy machine guns, grenade launchers, anti-tank and anti-ship missiles, depth charges, mines, you name it, miniguns. They are beasts of the sea, and with 38 of them in the Ukrainian arsenal, it seems weird if Ukraine would not utilize them in some offensive capability. Now, let's see if I can get this version working. Moving on to stuff I've already recorded successfully. And we know that Ukraine has been targeting oil refineries out here in the Black Sea. We know Ukraine has made some small-scale assaults with special forces on this small peninsula here, the Kinburn Spit, I believe it's called. And as we've seen, there has been assaults in the delta here and elsewhere along the river, and as we've seen in the last couple of days, Russia is struggling with Ukrainians having a presence here south of the Dnieper River. So clearly Ukraine is using boats of some kind to move troops and equipment across to contest this area here south of the Antonov Bridge. And but I'm thinking, with 32 combat boat 90, I'm sure they're not just using them to protect the shorelines here. I'm pretty sure that at some point Ukraine plans to use the capabilities of these vessels to ship large amounts of marines and equipment across the ocean or the river and contest the Russians on occupied territory. I thought it was going to happen last year. Instead, we got the Kursk incursion instead of an assault down here at Kherson. The reason why I thought it was going to happen was because Ukraine had to make some form of move to try and push back and grab the initiative and actually move into the Russians instead of just being pushed back all the time. I mean, who could have dreamed that they were planning on invading Russia? So I thought that with all these boats being gathered, that they would try and attack somewhere down here, which they didn't, but they still have all these boats. That's a lot of boats, specifically designed for amphibious assaults, and seems like a bit of a waste if they are only using them to patrol the shores over here along Odessa. I'm thinking at some point Ukraine will put these boats into action and try an amphibious landing somewhere here around Kherson. I doubt they will do it down here at the Crimea, but because I'm sure you can get the troops across and establish a beachhead. The problem is then, of course, how do you support that beachhead when the Russians allocate missile defenses and what have you, and send drones out to sea to target all the supply vessels coming in to support the beachhead itself when the element of surprise is gone. So yes, you can land troops, but how will you support them? It's much easier up here to move across, establish a beachhead, and then use smaller, faster craft to ship across equipment and what have you, and eventually secure a port of some kind that can receive larger vessels that can unload tanks and fuel and bring in hundreds of troops at a time. So I think if Ukraine will make a move here at Kherson sometime, maybe this year, then they will make a move towards Holopristan, because this is where you have ports that can support larger vessels. You have the refinery up here, and further into town you have more. You can see here ships docked right along the riverfront here. Same thing up here. So Holopristan can receive these larger vessels that Ukraine needs to conduct operations south of the Dnipro. So I'm thinking this is where we will eventually see combat boat 90s conducting operations in what I have called Operation Käftsmäll. I'm still rooting for it. I still think it's gonna happen. And why not this year? Why not when Russia has allocated roughly 100,000 troops to Kursk and losing 40% of them in 6 months? Surely that may have left Kherson open for a counterattack, and maybe Ukraine will launch that attack this year. We'll see, because they have, like I said, a lot of amphibious capability, and it would be a real shame and strange if Ukraine did not try and utilize this capability. I think I misspoke there looking at the map. I think I said 32 combat boat 90. It is, of course, 38 in total, 32 from Sweden though. But I mean, Ukraine has a very, very powerful amphibious force with these 38 combat boat 90, each capable of delivering 18 fully equipped Marines straight into combat, and 350 cal machine guns. You can mount anti-tank missiles on it, or anti-ship missiles. You can just wreak havoc on any shoreline. It's just, it seems strange if Ukraine would not at some point make use of the capabilities of these vessels. The combat boat 90 is essentially an infantry fighting vehicle at sea. And I mean, they are making use of the CV-90, the Bradleys and mortars and everything else they've been given by the West in a combat role. Why would they not make use of the combat boat 90 eventually? A very, very capable assault craft that can, well, if you have 38, you can bring in a lot of Marines in very short order to a specific shoreline. But that's going to have to be it. I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go for March, Ukraine, and give them hell.